In the cold, unforgiving lands of the north, where snow falls like silence and the wind never rests, a boy was born. His name was Jon Snow. From the moment he learned to walk, Jon learned another truth. He was different. He did not belong. He lived among nobles, yet was never one of them. Laughter surrounded him, but it was never meant for him. Every smile reminded him of what he was not. Every silence whispered the same word again and again. Bastard. Jon grew up watching others receive love, while he learned how to survive without it. He trained himself to stay quiet, to feel less, to expect nothing. At night, when the castle slept, Jon would look into the darkness and wonder why he existed at all. He asked himself questions no child should ever have to ask. Who am I? Why was I born? Why does no one choose me? So Jon made a decision. If love would not accept him, then duty would. If the world would not give him warmth, he would embrace the cold. He left everything behind and joined the Night's Watch, a brotherhood of forgotten men, criminals, outcasts, and souls running from their pasts. At the wall, life was harsh. The cold cut deeper than knives. The nights were long, and death was always close. Jon trained every day until his hands bled. He fought until his body ached. He stood watch while the world slept. Slowly, the boy began to disappear, and a man of honor was born. Yet even in the black cloak of duty, Jon could not silence his heart. Loneliness followed him like a shadow. The wall protected the realm, but nothing protected Jon from himself. Every breath of icy wind reminded him of what he had sacrificed. Every starless night reminded him of how alone he truly was. Jon Snow became strong. Jon Snow became brave. But Jon Snow was still empty inside. And beyond the wall, in the frozen wilderness where danger lived and freedom breathed, fate was waiting for him. A fate that would teach him love. A fate that would break him forever. Beyond the wall, the world was different. The air was harsher. The land was wild. And freedom lived where fear ruled. Jon Snow crossed into a place where rules meant nothing and survival meant everything. Every step beyond the wall felt like stepping into death. And that was where he met her. Ygritte. She was nothing like the women Jon had known. Her hair burned red like fire against the white snow. Her eyes were sharp, fearless, alive. She laughed without permission. She spoke without fear. To Jon Snow, she was chaos. And somehow, she felt like home. At first, they were enemies. Prisoner and captor. Sword and bow. Ygritte mocked him. Challenged him. Teased him. "You know nothing, Jon Snow," she said again and again. And slowly, Jon realized something terrifying. She was right. She showed him a world without walls, without vows, without chains. By the fire at night, Ygritte spoke of freedom, of living without kneeling, of loving without asking permission. Jon listened, not as a soldier, not as a brother of the Night's Watch, But as a man who had never been chosen before, with Ygritte, Jon laughed. For the first time in his life, his smile was real. With her, he forgot the word bastard. He forgot the wall. He forgot who he was supposed to be. They ran together through forests. They hid in caves. They shared warmth in the coldest nights. And somewhere between stolen glances and quiet moments, Jon Snow fell in love. But love beyond the wall came with a price. Jon's vows haunted him. Duty pulled at his heart like a blade. Every kiss felt like betrayal. Every touch felt forbidden. Ygritte loved freely, but Jon loved with fear. And one night, faced with a choice between love and duty, Jon chose the wall. He left her behind. The pain in Ygritte's eyes was sharper than any sword. She did not cry. She did not beg. She simply looked at him and said, "You know nothing, Jon Snow." War followed soon after. Steel clashed against steel. Snow turned red with blood. And in the chaos of battle, Jon saw her again. Ygritte, fighting, bleeding, dying. An arrow pierced her heart. She fell into Jon's arms as the world collapsed around them. Her breath was weak, her voice barely a whisper. She spoke of the cave, of the warmth they shared, of the life they never had. And then she was gone. Jon held her as the snow fell, silent, broken, alone. For the second time in his life, Jon Snow learned the truth about love. Love does not always save. Sometimes, love destroys. And from that moment on, a part of Jon Snow died with Ygritte beyond the wall. After losing Ygritte, Jon Snow never allowed himself to love again. His heart became quiet, cold, guarded. He became a man shaped by loss. Years passed. Battles were fought. Crowns were raised and broken. And Jon Snow became king in the north. The north followed him not because of his name, but because of his honor. And then destiny brought fire into his world. Her name was Daenerys Targaryen. She arrived with dragons in the sky and power in her eyes. A queen born of fire. A woman who believed she was meant to change the world. Jon did not trust her at first. She did not kneel, and neither did he. But slowly, respect replaced tension. And respect turned into something far more dangerous. Jon saw strength in Daenerys, loneliness, a hunger to be loved. Daenerys saw purity in Jon, honor, a man untouched by greed. Ice and fire drew closer. Against all reason, Jon tried to resist. He remembered Ygritte. He remembered pain. But the heart does not always listen. They fought together. They survived together. They loved. For a brief moment, Jon Snow believed fate had finally shown him mercy. But truth has a cruel way of returning. Jon learned who he truly was. Aegon Targaryen, the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. The truth changed everything. Love turned into fear. Fear turned into obsession. Daenerys began to see enemies everywhere. Her fire no longer protected the innocent. It consumed them. Cities burned. Screams filled the air. And Jon watched in horror as the woman he loved became someone he could no longer recognize. Once again, Jon faced the same choice, the same curse: love or duty. He begged her. He tried to reach the woman he once knew, but she was gone. In the ruins of a broken city, Jon Snow made the hardest decision of his life. He held her. He kissed her. And with tears in his eyes, he ended her life. The world was saved. But Jon Snow was destroyed. There was no victory. Only silence. No songs were sung for him. No crown awaited him. Jon returned to the north, to the snow, to the cold, where everything began. He walked alone into the white wilderness, a ghost among memories. He remembered Ygritte's laughter, Daenerys' fire, and the love that was never meant to last. Jon Snow did not become king. He became a legend, a man who gave up everything so the world could live. In a land of ice and fire, some heroes are not rewarded. They are simply remembered. And Jon Snow will always walk alone.